twines her spines up slowly towards the boiling sun. And when I touched her skin,
what I received in the mail is this is the Yukon YT SA01 inner axle seal insert tool. And you can see that I have the seal placed on the, I guess you would call it the socket portion. And this is reversible, so obviously it can be used with larger seals or different axle tubes, but this was the size I need. And that fits very nicely inside the seal. Snug fit. And then you have to shorten this thing up like that, gently push the threaded portion into the axle tube, line it up nice, probably start it by hand. And then I believe this is 1 1/8 inch. I only had a large adjustable. That's what I'm going to use. And then you would tighten this up and extend this out into the axle tube. So that's where I'm at right now. So right there, the seal is placed in, and I'm getting just a little bit of resistance, but it appears as though it's square. Loosen that up again. I think as you tighten this up, it kind of finds its own. I think as you tighten it up, it kind of finds its own center. So right now I'm using the adjustable wrench. I took some brake cleaner and cleaned out the edge of the axle tube where the seal would actually be going in. Now, when I took this seal out, this seal, as you remember from the other video, was probably about 1/4 inch in the axle tube portion. Seems to be tightening up a little bit, so I'm going to loosen that up now and take a look at it and see how far in it is. So once the pressure's off, it unloosens easily, and you want to keep bringing this back. Now, one thing that I have is I can also look at some of my other pictures and get a sense of how far in it was, and just do a little comparison. I'll look at the seal right there. Looks nice and flat, and so it went in without much resistance, and then I got some resistance when it kind of maxed out, and I didn't go too crazy. So we're gonna take some. I'm gonna get out of this video here and look at some of my other pictures and just kind of get a sense about how far that seal was in. Okay, very good. And as I said, this would go on over this threaded shaft like that, and then you push in and you level it. This will drop on that housing beautifully, and then we'll put the other seal in. So it really was relatively painless. Took just a couple minutes. It kind of, at a certain degree, once it kind of lines up, it kind of centers itself. And I did notice as I was threading it in, it goes relatively easy. You can see it going in, and then you start to sense some resistance when it begins to bottom out. And I basically compared the distance from some other photos earlier that the seal went in. So on the passenger side, the original seal was in, and I noticed about 1/4 inch of space. On the driver's side, that seal that was in a little bit further, maybe closer to 1 centimeter or 1/2 inch. So I'm about to do the driver's side now. Okay. One of the things that I find kind of interesting about this tool is, you may have a sense of where you think that this bushing or this flat piece needs to be. And when you go to place the seal and the tool in the axle tube, I do believe it kind of finds its center. So right now we're beginning the process of installing the second inner axle seal. And look, should this be rocket science? I spent a ton of time reading reviews and forums. Some guys are like, oh, I goop up the outside of the seal with grease. Other guys are like, no, I use Permatex. And, when I took these seals out, these are the OEM seals, there was nothing like that on the outside. And if you look at the seal carefully, you see that there is a very tacky strip portion that goes along the... All right, so I'm getting some resistance right there now. All right, so I'm going to back this out and take a look at it. And hopefully I'll see a hopefully I'll see it in nice and level and straight. Okay, very interesting. And much like, I can tell right now by looking at it, much like the original seal that was in there, and I'll make some comparisons with the pictures. It seems to have that same kind of 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter spacing. So the tool installs it relatively easy. You can feel it, then all of a sudden you begin to get some resistance. And I went, a couple more little 1/4 turns there till it was snug, and then backed off. So I'm going to look at those pictures and inspect this really good like I inspected the other one, but I got a good sense that it feels good. Okay, so there is the driver's side inner axle seal. And some comparisons and looking at the position of the seals, what I had, what I have now. They look good. Basically, I sensed resistance and went a couple small 1/4 turns till it felt that it was seated, and it was kind of by feel at that point without really wrenching on the tool, and I don't want to damage these things. But when you look at the pictures of where they were, they look so damn close, and some of it gets deceiving because you're looking at a shiny object and it's curved and so forth, but I think the tool works phenomenal. It's almost a joke how easy these goes in. The tool was $117, and it's really just a couple minutes. When it really comes down to it, it's a couple minutes per seal. But I'm just really happy that the tool did fit the seal perfectly for this Dana 44 Rubicon axle housing with the Mopar OEM seals going back in the axle tubes. And that's it for today. Got family things going on, and we will resume this another day where we will begin to put the carrier back in.